I'm going to lay down my views on Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao as fighters and give my opinion on the whole ducking situation. Who's been ducking who for all these years? Because it's holiday season now. A lot of people are off work. A lot of people have got spare time to watch videos and catch up on my videos. And some people are going to watch certain videos and take them out of context and accuse me of being a Flomo or a Pactard or what have you, because we all know at the moment these fanboys are out in force. So rather than me having to go back and forth with these idiots in the comment section or make constant videos to address their foolishness, I just thought I'd make this video and give my flat out opinions on Floyd and Pacquiao as fighters and who I think would win if they fight. Okay? So as far as Floyd Mayweather goes, I think he's an excellent fighter. Tremendous defensive skills, some of the best defensive skills I've ever seen. Amazing coordination, especially for a guy with such long arms. Normally guys who have very long arms for their height are a bit clumsy. Now some people are going to say, oh, I know tall fighters that are very well coordinated. We're not talking about tall fighters. We're talking about people who have abnormally long arms for their height. Different than just being tall. All right? So don't get it twisted. Floyd has very long arms for his height. And yet he is exceptionally well coordinated with those long arms. And he can fight on the inside and shorten his punches beautifully to fight guys with much shorter arms like Miguel Cotto and guys like that up close and be very effective. That's very rare talent to have. And on the outside, he can dominate because he's got these go-go gadget arms. And he can pick shots beautifully on the outside. This guy's very, very talented, people. Yes, he's not a likable guy, but don't let your hate for him cloud your judgment. This is an excellent fighter we're looking at in Floyd Mayweather. Okay? And a lot of people seem to have amnesia about the Canelo fight. A lot of people were picking Canelo to beat Floyd. He don't get enough credit for that win. That was an excellent win. I've said this before, and I have to reiterate that point. That was an excellent win. Floyd hasn't been one of those champions like a Muhammad Ali or a Marvin Hagler who has taken on all comers. No, he hasn't. He's been a multiple weight world champion, but he's been a multiple weight world champion in an era when there are many champions in each weight class. It's not like when Ray Robinson or Henry Armstrong were champions when there was only one champion per division. So when you fought the champion, you were really fighting the champion. You were not picking off a weak belt holder in a particular division. You weren't doing that back then. You were actually fighting the cream of the crop most of the time when you fought the champion. So multiple weight world champion now is nothing like it was back in the days. Okay. And Floyd hasn't been willing to take on all comers the way that previous champions like Ali and, what have you were willing to do. So I don't hold him in as high regard as those guys. Yeah, I don't. Because at the end of the day, we can all have opinions, but the only thing that matters is what takes place in the ring. And when you've taken on all comers and left no stone unturned, no one can debate with you. Styles make fights. Floyd has looked excellent against the guys he's faced, but there's a hell of a lot of guys that he didn't face. A hell of a lot of guys, a hell of a lot of top guys. So you have to take points away from him for not facing everyone, or at least the majority of guys that were around. He has been careful. There's no doubt about the guys that he's picked. He still fought some excellent fighters, over the years. Don't get it confused. This guy has fought excellent fighters, some excellent fighters along the years and deserves credit for those victories. No doubt about it. But he hasn't fought maybe he's fought 50% of the top guys around. Maybe not even that. So me personally, I dock points from Floyd in terms of his all-time greatness when you're comparing him to people like Ali and a lot of the other great champions of the past, Ray Robinson and what have you, because they took on all comers. But nonetheless, styles make fights. And in my opinion, again, opinions don't mean shit, really, but this is just my assessment based on styles. Even though Floyd didn't take on all the fighters around and hasn't really reigned supreme during his era the way that fighters of the past did, just based on styles, I would actually pick him over some of the great fighters of the past. I'm not going to mention their names right now because that will open up a whole can of worms. But there are other fighters, other great fighters in and around Floyd's weight division of the past who I would actually pick Floyd to beat, just based on his style, But again, that's a subject for another video. But, the whole issue about how Floyd picks his fights and how careful he is, and he waits for the right time to see a weakness and then he'll decide to fight a guy. You have to take points away for that, especially when he's doing it in an era which isn't the strongest. He's not fighting in the same era as Hagler, Hearns, Duran, Leonard. So if he's not fighting in an era that strong, it's even more important that he takes on all comers. In this era, if you're fighting in an era that's not that strong, if you want to be classed as the TBE, you better take on everyone then. But he hasn't done that. So I do definitely deduct points for that. But nonetheless, he's an excellent fighter. Doesn't get enough credit for wins like the Canelo win, even though he was a hypocrite for taking a catchweight fight when he'd criticized Manny for taking a catchweight fight or catchweight fights for so many years. Yes, you can criticize his hypocrisy, but you can't criticize that performance. Wonderful performance from Floyd Mayweather, and he is an excellent fighter. There's no doubt about it. Outside the ring, the guy comes across as an idiot, very ignorant, not likable. But that, the fact that he's not likable, the fact that he has the charisma of a garden rake, but he antagonizes people, often deliberately, that's why he makes so much money. Because it's not for his performances in the ring. Even though his performances are technically brilliant, they're not exciting. Okay, if you like that kind of boxing, hey, that's fine. But it's not exciting. It might be interesting to you, but it's not exciting, people. Okay, there's a reason why Mike Tyson is so revered all these years after he retired. Because he was exciting. That's what people want to see when they watch boxing. It's an entertainment sport. It's entertainment. People want knockouts. People want excitement. That's why Mike Tyson was so revered. Floyd Mayweather, on the other hand, is box office because of the controversy he causes, because of the fact that he's got people to hate him. If people didn't hate Floyd Mayweather, he wouldn't be making the money that he's making, because he's not exciting enough in the ring to generate that kind of pay-per-view without being controversial outside the ring. Okay, so the fact that people hate him has actually made him rich. It's not his performances in the ring that have really done it. So that's what I think of him as a fighter. I'll get into who I think was ducking who a bit later on in the video. Now, as far as Pacquiao's also an excellent fighter. Very exciting, explosive in the ring. More entertaining to watch than Floyd. No doubt about that. He has been more willing to face a greater variety of challengers. He took on people like Miguel Cotto, Antonio Margarito. Yes, catchweight fights, but again, I've never had a problem with catchweight fights. So I give him credit for those victories, and I think other people should too, especially given the fact that Floyd took on Canelo at a catchweight. You got to give Pacquiao credit for his victories. And a lot of people are not giving him enough credit for his recent victory over Tim Bradley, another excellent fighter and better than any of the welterweights that Floyd has fought in recent years. Tim Bradley, a very good fighter. So, yeah, Pacquiao, I think he's been a bit more willing than Floyd to fight anyone. He's a bit of a throwback Pacquiao. Look at the fights he's had with Marquez. Marquez has always been a difficult fighter for him. Many fighters, when they go in there and barely scrape by an opponent, they don't want a rematch. Pacquiao's like, no, let's fight again. He barely scrapes by Marquez again. He's like, let's fight again. He barely scrapes by Marquez again. In fact, many people think that Pacquiao got a gift decision in the third Marquez fight. And Pacquiao's like, let's fight again. So you got to respect that kind of old school mentality. No matter what a guy does, Pacquiao's still willing to fight him again. And then obviously Marquez knocked him out cold. And then Pacquiao's like, let's fight again. Let's fight again. He's got an old school mentality. You got to respect that. You got to respect that, man. So I like the fact that he's a cut from that old school cloth. I like the way he fights in the ring. He's vicious. Definitely not as defensively talented as Floyd. But he's coming up from a much smaller weight. So you have to give Pacquiao points for being a naturally smaller guy in terms of dimensions, height and reach especially, but still stepping up to welterweight and fighting all these big guys, Antonio Margarito and Shane Mosley and Joshua Clottey. And again, I don't think he gets enough credit for those particular victories. And there was the whole PED situation. My opinion on PEDs is that I don't trust any of these fighters. That's my opinion, pretty much. I don't trust Manny. I don't trust Floyd. I don't trust Klitschko. I don't trust any of these guys. I'm with Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson believes that all the top fighters are on PEDs, or the majority of them. I'm with him. That's my personal belief as well. So that's the whole PED situation. Now, in terms of who I think has been ducking who out of Floyd and Pacquiao, I think they've both ducked each other at different points in their careers. That's my opinion. I can't prove it definitively, but that's my opinion based on what I've seen. That's my interpretation of the facts. I think they've both ducked each other at different points. I think there was a time when Floyd didn't want to fight Pacquiao because I don't think he saw enough weaknesses. And he was waiting to see certain weaknesses emerge. And when those weaknesses emerged, all of a sudden he came out and he challenged Pacquiao. And I think that's what happened after the third Marquez fight. He all of a sudden saw weaknesses and said, yes, now's the time. I'm going to fight this guy. And when he called out Pacquiao that time, I believe it was 2012, I think that was the time when Pacquiao, or at least Team Pacquiao and Arum, ducked Floyd Mayweather. Because Mayweather offered them 40 million and Arum came out with something about, oh, we need more time to get a bigger stadium and, all this kind of stuff. I think that was a blatant duck from Team Pacquiao. Okay. But prior to that, I don't think Floyd was keen on the fight. I think he was looking for signs of weakness before he stepped in there, because he understands, as well as the fact that Floyd is making money because people hate him, he's also making money because of his O, because people want to see if someone can take that O from him. He understands that. So his marketability, a lot of his marketability and his earning power rests on the fact that he's got that O. Without that O, his earning power goes down a lot. So I think that's one of the main reasons why Floyd is very careful about who he fights and when he fights them. Again, not to say he hasn't fought some excellent fighters, because he has. But yeah, I think they've both ducked each other at different stages. And in fact, during this latest, these latest shenanigans, I initially thought that Pacquiao was ducking Floyd again. When I heard Bob Arum come out and say, oh, well, we can't have the fight on Cinco de Mayo because it's disrespectful to Mexicans. When he said that, I thought, wow, Pacquiao and Arum are ducking the fight again. Until I looked at the other situation, the other circumstances surrounding the whole situation, and I realized, it's not quite that simple. Maybe Bob Arum does have a point in what he's saying. The logistics of having a fight on May 2nd, 2015 are not really there. So, no, I wouldn't say he's ducking him this time, but who knows? It's just my interpretation of the facts. And any logical person can look at my interpretation of the facts and see what I'm saying and see, okay, yeah, there's logic in that. All right. So that's my assessment of the two guys as fighters. Manny Pacquiao outside the ring, we really don't know anything about him. Or I don't anyway. I don't speak his language. And when he speaks English, he says very little. He comes across as a friendly guy, but, that's his public persona. He certainly doesn't say anything untoward or say anything that would make anyone really hate him. Who knows what he's like as a person, but his public persona, he comes across as, cool, very politically correct, kind of like the Anthony Joshua type mold. You don't know what to make of him really, just seems cool. But I like the fact that he's an old school guy who's willing to fight guys who beat him and, get in there and take on, no, I wouldn't say all comers, but certainly the majority of top contenders over the years, Manny Pacquiao has been willing to face, apart from maybe guys like Paul Williams, but, for the most part, he's been willing to face everyone out there. So you got to respect that. And he's an exciting fighter in the ring. When it comes to who I think would win out of Floyd and Pacquiao, I think Floyd would win. I think Mayweather will beat Manny Pacquiao if they fight. If they fought in their primes, I think it would be a lot closer, because I think Pacquiao has slipped more than Floyd has slipped. But I'd probably still pick Floyd, I'd probably still pick Floyd. I think his style is very awkward to deal with, and I'll probably still pick Floyd. So that's my views on both fighters, man. Let's lay all the foolishness to rest. If I criticize either one of these guys, it's based on circumstances at the time, whatever the hell is happening. around those circumstances. It's not because I've got any agenda against either fighter. I just say what I see at the time, and that's that. Okay? I respect them both in terms of their ability in the ring. They're both fantastic fighters. I'm not on this whole situation where people are saying Pacquiao shit, Floyd shit. I mean, come on, man. How the fuck can Floyd be shit? How the hell can Pacquiao be shit? Are you fucking mad? These are both excellent fighters. Yeah, let's be real. But in my opinion, I think Floyd would beat Pacquiao. You know, it is what it is. Drop your comments below. Hopefully we can lay all this fanboy shit to rest. This is Hatman, I'm out.